everyone. Welcome to Chosen Lifelines for Men. My name is Walter Jennings. I am your Chosen Life Specialist, where we have been called to challenge and, if necessary, change the motivation, mentality, and mettle of men. Today, I want to talk to you about embracing and walking in a fear mentality. Now, fear can be a great motivator. Fear is something that can get us moving and can serve us if we utilize it in the right way. However, we want to be careful that we do not adopt a mentality of fear, because that will limit us in our ability to be able to expand in our growth and also to reach and maximize our full potential. Now, a fear mentality is the internal process of moving ourselves away from what we don't want. It is something that moves us away from being uncomfortable. And fear is a powerful motivator because it actually makes us uncomfortable, and we want to move away from that discomfort towards our comfort zone. However, when we move towards our comfort zone, we oftentimes are moving away from a growth zone. So again, the motivation in moving can be correct, but the question is, what are we exactly moving into? Sometimes we need to be in uncomfortable spaces in order for us to be able to grow and expand our skill sets. And so while fear is powerful, the problem is that a fear mentality can become stressful to us over time. It can cause paralysis in us that inhibits our ability to perform at the best of our abilities, and also, again, to explore and to maximize the full potential of everything that we are capable of. So we must not also allow our fears to evolve into phobias. I'll say that again. You don't want to let your fear evolve into a phobia. Now, the difference between a fear and a phobia is that fears are common reactions to events or objects, but a fear can become a phobia when it begins to interfere with your ability to function and maintain a consistent quality of life. If you start taking extreme measures to avoid water, spiders, or people because of a previous experience with them, then you may have a phobia. And a phobia, another way to look at it, is unchecked fear. It is fear that you have allowed to actually become a part of your mentality, and now you have a challenge even engaging or going through everyday life because of the fear that has set in. And so we want to be careful that we don't allow fears to devolve into phobias with us. So there are three things that we can do, three quick tips that we can actually use to combat and prevent us from developing a fear mentality. I call them the 3 C's to combat fear mentality. Number 1, confession. Admit that you're afraid and explore what aspects are making you fearful. Now, I know this is something as men that goes against what we've been taught. You, first of all, are not supposed to show fear, let alone talk about even being afraid. It's something that we're told to deny. Don't admit it. Where I am telling you today that what you do not confront, you cannot change. What you do not confront, what you will not admit, then you cannot actually address and grow from. So it's important for us to be willing to admit our fear so that we can then get into the process of exploring what is it about that situation or that thing that's actually causing us to be fearful. So that once we can identify those things, then we move into the next C, which is confrontation. So we want to face our fear head on. Don't avoid it. Don't allow yourself the liberty and the grace to really embrace how this situation is impacting you. So I will say this: spiders freak me out, right? Spiders are something that, because they're so weird looking and they can be in different sizes, I was really freaked out by spiders. I will go ahead and say I was afraid of spiders. But when I was confronted in a situation where everybody in my home, my wife and my 2 children, were also afraid of spiders as well, I had to step up. I had to be courageous. I had to confront my fear of spiders for the safety of my family. And what I realized is that part of the reason why I was afraid of spiders is because they're so small, they're weird looking, and they can end up anywhere, right? But once I began to confront that fear of spiders, I realized that there was nothing for me to really be afraid of. I actually came up with a method to really deal with them, which I won't go into because I don't know if we have any pet lovers on the line or any individuals that advocate for animals. But the bottom line is I was able to do what I needed to do to protect my family by confronting my fear. And then lastly, we want to command our fear. This means talking to yourself through the scenario or the situation and use your hyper awareness to tell your body what to do. One of the things that shows up when fear comes is that we go into this place where our body goes into panic and shock, and it seems like our body loses control. For some people, their arms start flailing, they start sweating, they get really nervous, and their body begins to physically respond to that. Well, what we want to do is get to a place where we're able to harness our fear in such a way where we are actually telling our body what to do. And a really important part of that is talking ourselves through the process. And I know it may sound weird. I know it may be something that you may not be comfortable doing around other people, but even if you're saying it under your breath, until you get to a place where it can become intrinsic process for you, you may want to externally speak, so that way you're giving yourself physical prompts in order to be able to talk through and manage your fear in a more effective way. Hey, listen, everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this Chosen Life for Men moment. I am so excited to be here to serve and to partner with men in their growth and mature process. So be sure to reach out to me at chosenlifespecialist.com. I would love to schedule some time to meet with you in order to help you walk through combating your fear mentality. My name is Walter Jennings from Chosen Life Specialists, where I have been called to challenge and, if necessary, change the motivation, mentality, and mettle of men. Thanks again.